Hello Libra and welcome to your January 2024 reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh and we're going to be taking a look at all of the energy coming through in this brand new year. This is going to give you a sense of empowerment, clarity, and I hope that it also gives you exactly what you need to embrace any challenges or opportunities head on. We're going to begin with channeled messages, and thank you so much for giving me one extra day to do these because I actually received additional messages. There are no accidents. That's what this is about. The first one that really kind of stuck with me was this vision of a moth. I could see it in my dreams, and then it became very real. It wasn't just sort of like I was randomly dreaming. I could actually hear it kind of buzzing around my face. It almost felt like the wings gently touched my face as well. And I had to wake up to make sure. I'm like, is there something in the room? And spiritually speaking, yes, it was a clear sort of like guide that was coming through in the form or the shape of a moth, but there was no physical moth there. Let's break down the images of this and really talk about what the moth was trying to convey for all of you. It's transformation, plain and simple. Whether a butterfly or a moth comes through, it's a very transformative signal or symbol. And it is signaling you to embrace this new change, this new movement, and this new development that January wants to bring. Unique to moths is that they basically emerge from a cocoon versus a chrysalis for a butterfly. Cocoons are a little bit more comfy. It's like a blanket, something that we can grow very accustomed to. And so January could be a period for many of you Libra out there where you're asked to let go of the security blanket, let go of the comfort, and explore. It's kind of like getting out of bed in the morning. Sometimes you just want to pull the covers up and sleep a few extra minutes. But January is a month where when the alarm goes off, it's time to get up because there's so many opportunities that are knocking. I chose here basically the Hermit because it is that energy of something that's about to be revealed, but it's hidden. We see the cloak here. So this is you letting go of the cloak and embracing the star energy that the Hermit has in the lantern. It's a time to be seen. It's a time to socialize, a time to network. And also, like me, if you're awakened, you have an epiphany that there is a call, there is a path, there is a project, there's something that you need to do. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, Libra, the month to make it happen, okay? And it was flying around my crown chakra, also around the ears. So really listen, pay attention to what people are saying. The intonation, pay attention to also your emails, your letters, anything that's kind of coming across your desk, and make sure that you're not missing something because Spirit's trying to get it across to you. And that's what I saw here, okay? I was so inspired with the next stream because it showed the positive energy that can happen with communication and thought. So this is the second time in a week that I heard singing, and to me this is good because singing also equates to like celebration or happy things. And it sounded beautiful. It wasn't a mournful sound. It was more celebratory, like a choir, something that you would hear in a religious atmosphere, but just kind of broadly in that sort of vein. What I was picking up on was that it was positive. It was affirmative energy, even if I didn't recognize each and every word that was being said. And as this happened, I saw energy. I saw the people rise up. So the voice, the thought, and the way that this was weaving it into their reality was lifting them up. And then, because I'm reading for you, Libra, you stood out. This is the second time I've seen that happen in a week, too. So I think it's very important to develop your own voice and know that it can be a complement to what's already going on around you. It's not about competition. It's just basically about building your own voice, your own vision, and allowing that to be seen and heard. Mantra in and of itself is very, very powerful. So let's break down some of what I talked about here. So I think one of the key things here is to not just go into possibility, but into the reality of something. So rather than saying I can, instead say I am. I'm not even ready, just say you are doing what you're trying to do. So if you want to be successful, embody it. I am successful. I'm the embodiment of success. And rather than saying I'm ready to receive abundance, you could just say I'm receiving all the abundance that the universe is ready to give me. And I am appreciative. So you can say you're ready, but I think the key thing here is going a step further and making it happen in your mind. And that's going to open the door even faster. So this is going to lift you up. It's going to change the timeline. It's going to make you pop out of the crowd in a positive way, just like a solo performer. And I just talked about that in a daily reading. And so this is your chance to basically take the spotlight. And you've done the work. We just talked about it. The hermit holding the lantern has done a lot of soul searching. It has been sort of holding in the light. And I really feel like January is a month to open the spotlight, either step into it or be like what is that? Basically like a tower, a lighthouse, and help others find the way if you need to, okay? So you're not just capable of doing something, I am succeeding or I am successful. Put that kind of energy out there, and the universe then gets into the I am and helps you accomplish what you already know you can and will do. But we're taking it out of the can and the will into present tense, okay? And I guess that's the main thing here. So elevating your thought process, reprogramming your thought process, and reprogramming the way you speak about what you want, and just say, I am creating this. I am working to make this a reality. As long as you're putting it into present active tense, you're going to be in a good space, okay? This is also a nice segue into the final thing that I saw, which was someone that was kind of putting a carrot on a string in front of you, trying to string you along. I put Justice here because she holds a sword, and she's basically going to say, are we in or are we out? Are you serious or are you not? She's also asking you these things too. Are you ready? Because you're either going to grab that carrot and go, or you're going to cut the string and say, enough of that, I'm going to find my own way. So if someone's stringing you along with promises that are not kept, you're going to basically cut that energy out. If you need or want something, speak up, be decisive, be a clear leader, find the proper balance that you deserve. And of course I would put this here because it is Libra. You are justice personified. So you deserve all of this and then some. And that's one of the other mantras that you can put into your new sort of rotation, if you will. All right, let's give the cards a shuffle and see the messages that are coming through. There you are. This came through in wealth. Change for the better, especially in wealth. We'll get into that in a moment. All right, let me just get these arranged. We'll zoom out a little bit so you can see some more. There we go. Perfect. Let's begin. We're going to get started with that Catalyst card. It is a unique take on the Tower here. So, when I'm looking at this, this kind of reminds me of the lighthouse. I mentioned that. It took me a second to remember the word for it earlier. So there is something that on the distance, you're very much aware of what you need to embrace, what you need to address, what you need to walk away from. There really are no surprises with this Tower. The immediacy of needing to maybe work with it in January could be the only element that, as you're watching this reading, may take you by surprise. So suffice it to say, plain and simple, the universe is saying, you've been intending to do this. Now is the time. Better to do it now than later. Whether it's a dream, whether it's addressing a fear, whether it's dealing with something that's just kind of been weighing on you, now is the time to take your power back, to make a new path, and to basically bring that Tower energy into your own sort of, you can use it as construction, if you will. Say, I'm going to take this down, I'm going to do this, I'm going to move this around, let's get moving. That's basically what this wants to offer up. And it does serve as a lighthouse, a beacon. clarification, possibly even something to help you be hopeful now that you've kind of addressed whatever this is. Let's quickly scan the Celtic Cross and see what general messages I'm picking up on just with the overarching thing. I looked at these two and it was really interesting. It's don't second guess success, because we have a really good card here, the ability to manifest. And we see it happening here, the Two of Wands in where you're at, and then the Three of Wands in the outcome. So it's happening, but there might be a doubt. And we have doubt right here. And this is shadow energy that you don't need to have. So the Seven of Swords can be based on things that have happened in the past that are no longer really present, but we have it coming out of like a horn of plenty, a cornucopia. And this is, again, manifestation. So if good things are happening, don't second guess them, okay? That's one of the big messages here, because things are changing and changing for the better. Now let's just take it card by card, because everything else I can pretty much see a sort of pattern here, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. What you really want to be doing, hopefully some of you are even watching this in December, but if you're watching it at the beginning of January, you want to make sure you have a plan of attack, a game plan, if you will. I like that better. The Two of Wands is a visionary card, and it basically, we see a lot of times a crystal or a globe. You're holding the whole world in your hands. You just have to decide what you want. And like spinning that globe, it's sort of like, where have I been? Where do I want to go? That allows you to get your sort of soul GPS aligned to meet the synchronicity halfway. So take some time today, whenever you watch this, whether it's in December, January, or even if you watch this months or years later, you found this when you needed it. These readings have a timeless value to them. So if you're hearing this today, this is the day to do it. I'm glad you got this. Take a moment and map out what you want. I'm working with a producer on a project, which I'll talk more about in January, but we both were really clear. I said, this is going to work. She said, yeah, it's going to work. And we had a clear vision of what we wanted to accomplish with the phase one, and it happened. And so now we're very clear and positive in each step of the journey. And it's important to surround you with people that have the same vision and that have the same positive approach. Rather than worrying or putting energy into fear, we just were like, it's going to work. We've worked hard to make this happen. It's going to work, okay? So I want you to try that out in your life. I encourage you to try it out in your life and think this, instead of thinking, why would it work? Why wouldn't it work? And when you start to get playful with the universe like that, then you're really showing that you're ready. You know, I've done all the work. I can see it. Let's make it happen. Here's what's really kind of impeding with your visionary work. It's the Seven of Swords. There may have been someone in your past that disappointed you. They did not come through on a contract. Maybe they did something contrary to what they said they would do. So deception or lack of accountability or lack of integrity in the past could be causing you to have unnecessarily fearful or anxious thoughts right now. So address that, do the inner work that you need to, and know that ultimately there's more than enough opportunity in the future to make up for that. You're changing the wheel of fortune here. You're spinning it in a new direction. Seven of Swords is important when it does come to legal matters. So in this case, I think it's essential for you to, if you don't agree with something or if it doesn't sound right, speak up, raise your hand, circle it, and really deal with it in the moment. Because the good thing here is you see this, you see this, you see this. Two of Wands, you're looking at the world, the tower, it's really big. It's not crumbling yet. So you can see this before it gets bigger. So if someone is lying, if someone is lacking integrity, if they say they're going to do one thing but can't, you address it in real time. And you say, we had an agreement. Are you okay? Or is there something else going on that we need to talk about? So real-time corrections will help you when and if you do meet Seven of Swords energy, but it shouldn't surprise you. You should have an internal sort of gut instinct, or there should be some sort of a paper trail that leads you to this. So if it happens, you've got this. It's showing up right away and it's not blocking you from manifestation. This is a time for revelation. Deep past, your eyes have been opened. You've had that kind of moth moment that I did where there was something that woke you up energetically, creatively, emotionally. Maybe some of you are stepping into new love or new opportunity. And now it's just about keeping the blinders off. If we zoom in on this particular illustration, it's kind of interesting how there's this birdhouse here and we see the two birds chirping above that. And to me, this can also represent tuning out unnecessary chatter, whether it's, feedback that is not constructive, whether it's people that are jealous, whether it's just people that are talking. People always have opinions, right? There's a lot of stuff that it isn't worth the time and energy. And this is especially true when it comes to like a comment, whether in real life or online, where you just think to yourself, I could address it or I could just move on and not highlight that, not waste my energy or spotlight something that's not worth it. All right, recent past, patience. When I saw this, what I got intuitively is some of you have just been waiting for the right time. The good news here is that time is now, or it's right around the corner here. If we look at the traditional temperance card, we see the path unfolding. We see one foot in the water, so we can start to see this gentle movement at first, but what we see here with the iris in the background is an indication even of time here. So we're gonna, because I'm in the Northern Hemisphere, I'll read it that way. April, right around spring, that's when the iris start to come out. So if you're in that period of balancing, waiting, patience, it's not for long. We see pretty quickly within the next month or two, things moving, and it feels like you'll be on this path to movement and development. So enjoy any lull while it lasts and take this time, just like the temperance angel, to balance out your emotional and your mental well-being, to take relationships and passions in your life and bring them into the picture. For those of you that have been working too much, basically just get your footing, okay? And if you do that, you'll be able to weather any storm. I love the sort of canopy above her. And things are going to start to take off. Good news is incoming. So instead of the 2 cups, she has 2 doves, and those are messages. So there may be 1 or 2 really good phone calls, emails, or announcements that happen for you. And you may be asked to decide. For those of you that are looking for relationship, a job, or some other opportunity, I'm seeing not 1, but 2 things opening up. Could also be 2 competing things. You want to focus on love, but a new job starts or something like that. But however you slice it, it's good to have options. And it feels like, based on what I'm seeing so far, January is opening up a lot of options. March to the beat of your own drum. We have the King of Wands here. A very bold energy to start the new year with. We're going to look at a bonus card here after I get through all the main categories in the extended forecast. But already, even before I look at the bonus card, the King of Wands is saying, this looks good. It looks auspicious. January is a great time to step into a leadership position. It's a great time to put something out there that hasn't been done because of the boldness, the inventive sort of energy, the engineering energy that's behind this. So whether you're a creative person or an engineer, this energy is very much connected to you. And I saw so much about music over the past few days as I've been doing readings. So being able to complement, harmonize, or find some sort of balance in things really does feel like it's possible here, even in this leadership position, which is not always about making everyone happy. You might have to do something that's bold, that sets a trend. We see this in fashion, music, entertainment, and anything of that nature. Sometimes something comes out and it's so bold that it kind of makes everyone take a step back, but then it becomes the new norm. So don't be afraid to deviate and make a splash. I'm looking at this as well, and keeping the pace here. That's the other thing. Drummers are probably the most important person in the band, second only to the lead vocalist, because if they are ahead or behind every other instrument, including the vocalist voice, they're going to be out of tune or out of time. So this is why, if we look at these 2 cards, this is setting a plan, and this is keeping that plan in action and in movement. So maybe you didn't do that before, but that's what you're changing up a little bit in January, is planning and believing in that plan. I'm going to go a step further here and say, don't do anything or reach out to anyone that you don't really want to engage with. It should all be from the heart. That's going to help the connections happen faster. Do you believe, kind of like that old Cher song, Believe in Life After Love, but we can shorten it here. Do you believe in what you're doing? If you don't, no amount of pushing is really going to make it happen in a way that's satisfying for you. Judgment is an opportunity to rise up, to answer the call, to have second chances, to overcome any loss or setback and succeed ultimately. But it is about answering the call. And it is also about sort of putting something out there that you stand behind. And as long as you're doing that, it's another angelic card. You got two angels this month. We have Temperance and Judgment. It's a little easier to see the angel in this deck. So the first is to basically balance out your life. And the second one is to answer that call, get back on track to whatever it is that you were supposed to be doing. You're going to see movement in your goals. And now is the time. I've said this before. If you're watching live in December, don't sleep on December. Do things right here, right now. I'm already seeing traction for January. I'm setting goals and setting appointments for January. If you're watching this in January, even in February, today is the day. There's a very nice immediacy with this reading. It doesn't matter when you watch it. You got it today because you're supposed to take action. So try not to get in your headspace too much. Just take that first step. One last thing with Judgment, and then we'll get into the card for you. When it's reversed, it also reminds you that you can't make somebody do or feel or decide something if they've already closed themselves off. So there could be someone around you that it's already like the ship has already sailed. So you're going to focus on other things. And we have that here. You can set your own sail in your own direction. And that is very Three of Wands energy. Someone else, they're already 1 or 2 or 3 steps in another direction. So it's less about trying to get them to agree with you. It's more about deciding what to do with their decision or with their actions. Let's move on to you, because this is ostensibly one of the most important cards in the deck. 5 of Swords reversed. You're not going to waste time arguing or engaging with people that can't or won't listen to you. We can actually see it beautifully illustrated as a shadow energy because the 5 of Swords is. And generally speaking, it feeds off of your reaction. So if there's someone around you that likes to pick on you, likes to criticize you, likes to push you to do things, and it's like you don't want it, you can just be at peace with that, take a deep breath, and move in another direction. You got so much to engage with in a positive direction this month that this isn't worth the time and energy, okay? She's holding a white rose. The white rose also appears in the Death card. So you can put this to rest. You can let it go. I really like that, the sort of challenging cards with respect to swords are going to be easy for you to see. You've probably looked at enough of my readings to know that I refer to these as like sibling or cousin cards. The 5 and 7 of Swords are always kind of in the same neighborhood. So this is someone doing something they shouldn't, behind scenes, sometimes being deceptive. This is someone using communication in a way that is negative or manipulative or just not worth your time and energy. You see it coming. You're not going to focus on that. You've got other things. And you know what? If someone casts judgment on you without giving you a chance to really show your true colors, they're not ready for the real deal. They're not ready for what you have to offer. We still see so many wings here coming through again with Temperance and with Judgment. This is a time for you to spread your wings and move above and beyond limiting thoughts, limiting people, limiting environments. There's better things this month for you, Libra. Okay, now as we take a look here at your environment, we have the 7 of Wands. So this month you have what it takes to make anything happen, anything that you really want to see happen come into fruition. We see here this particular figure moving those bars, moving away from a block, a feeling of being trapped, and opening something new up. Sometimes it takes a little bit of push or effort. It's worth the push. However, as with every 7 of Wands, however it's illustrated, in order to move in the direction that you need to, you may need to push some other things to the side through delegation, through saying no, through just not bothering with it. We mentioned that some of it could just be unnecessary conversations or arguments, cutting ties with people that say they're going to do something and don't. This could be the carrot on the string, by the way, someone who's constantly promising it, but it's just a ploy. So you're going to get those energies out of the way, and that's going to help you get from this feeling of being trapped, whether it's like I haven't been able to make any movement or traction. You can cut those strings and then you will be able to do it. I love that this strong man leads with love. That's right there on the shoulder. So he doesn't have to be rude or pushy or even imposing. He's going to lead with compassion and clarity. We also see what looks like it could be either just a highly stylized lion or tiger. So there's also the energy of the Strength card, which is even when somebody tries to push you, that card comes through saying, I can overcome this obstacle. Do less, but do it better. That's the main thing that I would say with this card in reverse. And never underestimate your strength, all right? Looking at what this is opening up, well, a beautiful energy here. This is one of my favorite Eight of Wands because it just has this levity and lightness to it. And I was talking about levitation coming through your positive mantra. This is it, folks. So in some decks, you'll see rockets flying through the sky, but this is a lot less turbulent and a lot less sort of like fiery. It's more sort of saying, no, it's a time to take a deep breath and enjoy the ride, folks. Enjoy the journey. Many of you have worked very, very hard for this moment. There's still disbelief. Am I here? Is this happening? Yes. Can I trust this? Yes, you can. Because it's basically just this coming to fruition. It's going to get busy. I feel like January, especially towards the end of January, you're going to see the Eight of Wands coming through. But allow it to be fun busyness, sort of like, wow, I'm getting caught up in the hustle and bustle and you have more energy than you did before, more inspiration. Just allow that to kind of lift you up, okay? What I love the most about this particular card is it's leading you away from this. So if we look closely here, we can see like a retelling of Rapunzel there, trapped in her tower, looking at the world from a different perspective. What's happening, the big narrative here is that there was something that was holding you back. It's not anymore. You're pushing through that and you're saying, I am doing this. Not I want to do it, not I wish I could get out of this. I'm going to do what I need to do to escape and to cut these cords and to really like get out and see the world. It's very much like the movie Tangled, which this was based on. So one day she just gets out, she escapes. So this is a month to elevate, to explore, and to circumvent or escape some of these shadow energies from the past. Very enlightening, very inspiring. Things are looking up, very much looking up here. And it's a nice closing card here that we have in the outcome. It was reversed, but it's still good here. We have Three of Wands, and she's saying, my ship hasn't sailed. I'm actually just setting course here. And what I love about this Three of Wands is it's so much more active. And this is a month where I was talking about the necessary energy of being present tense, not just future tense. It's very active because she's saying, I'm not waiting for the ship to come in. I'm going to steer the ship myself. Here's your traditional Three of Wands where the person's looking out at the shore and the ships are so much further out there. She's bigger than life and she's holding the ship. Also, are we seeing a really cool thing here? So here's the Rapunzel. Rapunzel's now out there in the real world. Look at her with her long hair and tresses. And she's saying, I did it. I liberated myself. I made it happen. So if you have felt like a dream has not come true, a goal hasn't come to fruition, or if you're thinking to yourself, Nicholas, I want to do it, but I don't know if it's possible. You owe it to yourself to go for it because this card is saying it's possible. Things are within reach, but you have to get out of the tower. You have to, even when, like, again, if we look at the movie Tangled, which is probably more popular and well-known than Rapunzel, the mother was kind of keeping her there. She had to meet someone, and for some of you, there may be a mentor, a love interest, a friend that kind of helps you awaken. It could also just be your higher self. But once you have that awakening and that support, you know, the world is the limit. The sky is the limit. All right. So let's go ahead and expand this. So far, I'm really excited and heartened by what I see here. We're going to start off with the first of the four categories here, health and well-being. This is it, folks, abundance. If we look at this upright, it's kind of an interesting illustration because it says abundance and we see it here, but what we see here are two different attitudes towards it. We see one person here who's fearful of it, who's limited in their sort of ability to imagine that this is real. We see another person here that's tuning into it. So there's two paths. You could go with what hasn't happened, or you can go with what's available and opening up to you. Of course, the latter is going to be better. Focus on where you can make an impact and restate and reclaim your power of creation. I am not just ready, but I am experiencing and receiving abundance. I'm looking for it, I'm embracing it, and I'm ready to receive it. Put all of that energy out there. I am. And I really think it's important to also to begin it by saying, I'm deserving and ready of the abundance that's incoming. That will help you put the valuation there so that the universe is saying, they're ready. They value themselves. Great, we can send them more. let's not lock up what we have. Let's not sort of limit how big something can become. Let's allow the sky to be the limit, okay? Let's focus on some health energy coming through here, not just the abundance. This is more about potential and capability, but I would say when it comes to just general health and growth, you can overcome things. You can find a new stable ground, a new stable footing. But let's kind of break it down using the cards in front of us. It's a time to recalibrate. The Tower comes through when we have to make, or we're encouraged to make, necessary changes. So there could be something that does not serve you. That's why we got the Temperance card. It was, coming through right here in recent past, and this is in the outcome. So whatever you try to set into balance, the Three of Wands is saying you can do it. It just takes a little bit of time. And you may not do it in the first try. That's okay. Judgment is a card of second chances. Keep trying. These three together are good. Patience, vision, and a fresh start. Rebirth, reinvention, rising from the ashes, a phoenix, okay? So any setback that you have, you can overcome, but it takes some time and patience. What's standing in your way? What's the challenge? For some of you, being honest with yourself, maybe someone else that's not telling you the whole truth. When it comes to advisors, friends, and doctors in particular, you need someone who can basically be very, very honest and direct with you. That's going to help you go in the right direction. And it's going to help you deal with whatever needs to be managed here. Any negativity, any dishonesty, time to move in a new path and kind of like push that person to the side, because you have too much to accomplish in January to let that kind of impede with your trajectory. It's a time to get vision and hearing tested. We have the Two of Swords in the deep past. If there's something that you're afraid of talking about, like get a second opinion, learn about it, embrace whatever the reality is, because you can't kind of ignore it. And the Two of Swords is sometimes about ignoring. Some of you are working at getting stronger. The Seven of Wands can be gentle strength training. There's always a cautionary note when this is reversed not to overdo it, because sometimes you can kind of stress or strain an ankle or a muscle or a disc in the back, whatever. This is basically usually not the end of the world, but it's an unnecessary injury by pushing yourself too far too fast. So take your time. There could also be a significant change in how you have to live. So sometimes when we get a diagnosis, our diet or our exercise or something about how we work has to change. And again, there are some things we can't control, but what we can control is how we're going to make the most of it and adjust to a new norm. And I do see pushback, but then ultimately rising above and making something good out of this. So if there's a lemon, you're going to make lemonade. Overall, pretty good. Balance is key. Work-life balance, balance of love and relationships and creativity, taking the first step in the right direction, all of that. Temperance will lead you away from this and towards this. All right, Libra, let's move into the energy of wealth. This is your resources, life purpose, and career, and you're actually coming through on this one. Balance, that's you. Now, this balance card has unlimited potential. We see a liminal space. Literally outer space, the stars right there beneath the mudra. And the mudra is making a yin and yang symbol. So finding that perfect sort of balance of power and compassion and sensitivity. You're bringing it all together. The stars are aligning. The balance is both a symbol of your money and resources, but also of your demeanor and your energy. The way to create and to maintain abundance this month is to stay cool, calm, and collected, kind of like we saw in the Temperance Angel. You're not going to let anyone or anything take you out of that balance. So let's look at the cards here and see what it all is kind of equating to. The first and most important thing is to create and make the necessary changes in your life. If you feel stuck, which is what this Tower card is showing, break the stagnation, break free of the Tower. Be the element of change and movement, okay? That's the first thing. You're going to walk away from people, places, and things that are either lacking integrity or honesty, argumentative, or pushy. That can also take you out of your balance. So we're going to basically rectify those. If you need to step up and speak up, this is the time to do it. In any level of your life where you're looking for more resources or support, be the voice and the and I would even say like the embodiment of that change. This King of Wands is setting the tempo. If someone says no, keep looking. There are people that will say yes to whatever it is that you're trying to do. And you can't afford to lack your own sort of faith in yourself. You have to believe. Believe in yourself. That's the number one thing to success here. Once things start to take off, they take off fast. And it's really important, as I said earlier, to have a plan and to keep the tempo and the sort of alignment with that plan, and then to keep looking beyond that. You're steering the ship this month. This is leadership, and this is very much leadership. Speaking of steering the ship, let's look at 3 different possible trajectories. Those that are currently employed, those that might be seeking employment, and those that are either retired or not focusing their energy on work. For those in jobs, it's about being comfortable with change, maybe even a little bit of ambiguity. The Tower exists when there's necessary movement that's going to happen. A boss could be leaving, a company could be merging, there could be changes in employment status, there could be layoffs. This is change that's out of your hands, basically, because judgment means that it's already been made up. Decisions have been made, but this is happening. So for many of you, you may just be dealing with the aftermath of the Tower. If you get a little bit of a heads up, some of you may hear that it's happening in the spring because the Temperance card is connected with that. And I'm looking at spring in the Northern Hemisphere. So this would be like April and May for those that are watching in the Southern Hemisphere. So if you hear it's happening in the first or second quarter of the year, you can actually get ahead of this a little bit and say, I'd like to be a part of those conversations, or this is what I'd like to do if this happens. So there's that potential path for some of you. I'm also looking at some cleanup work here. So some of the environments you're going to have to really sort out if they're going to change or if they're not going to change, if you're going to be okay with that. Because this is a lack of honesty or integrity. That's not fun. This can be pushy energy, and this can be someone who doesn't listen. So if you have those energies and it's affecting your morale or the morale around you, you can try to serve it up to management and see if it'll change. And if it doesn't, you have to make a decision if this is a place to be. If everything's okay, some of you are just done with what you're doing. There's a path that you've worked on, and it feels like some of you just want to take more of a leadership role because she's steering the ship, he's leading the charge. Like, to me, it's a lot of leadership energy. There's a lot of untapped potential or strength. And this is just asking you what you want to do about that. And you don't have to make a decision immediately. All of this is about planning. You could just say, you know what, I think I've accomplished everything I need to. 1 or 2 years more, 1 or 2 months more, and then I see myself in a new direction. Stay accountable. 7 of Swords on top of that is saying if you make a plan, keep it. And keep yourself, and if you need help keeping accountability, have a manager come in and help you. Maybe, or have a friend or a therapist or somebody that can kind of keep you honest on those goals and plans. Ultimately, though, these 2 cards are very, very positive. Necessary change, a couple of shadow energies that could hold you back from it, but ultimately things are looking up, things are headed in the right direction. If you get challenging or bad news, you can bounce back from it, maybe even better. You're going to exit the month better than you did when you started it off, and to me that's pretty exciting for people in a current working situation. Now, this card is important not just for those that are working, but also those that are seeking employment, because it has to do with contracts. So what I'm saying now applies to both. We're going to shift the focus to those job seeking, however, since it'll probably affect them more. If you're signing anything, you need to understand what it's about. This can be a deceptive card. So it's not necessarily you being deceptive, but the other person is not telling you the whole truth. So if you're going to do freelance work, or if you're signing, a regular employment agreement, make sure that you understand things like non-disclosure, non-competitive clauses, compensation, and that they haven't hidden something or obscured something in language that isn't accessible. In that case, work with a lawyer or work with someone that can bring a little bit more balance to the contract. It should be balanced for both sides. It shouldn't be weighted for the person that's hiring you or too heavily for you. It should just be, give and take, both sides. So that's really important. Can you find something for job seekers? Yes. One of the options I don't love. The 7 of Swords is that. They didn't say the whole truth. You want to be cautious of that. There could be something that you're doubting yourself. Can I do it? Don't doubt yourself. I think that you are stronger and better suited for one of these stretch goals than you might think. So there's one that I don't love, there's one that I quite do. But there may even be an initial pass on you, but then the choice falls through, or they didn't think that they were going to have the money for the job. There's something weird about this other one, and it actually ends up coming through. Don't take something that is less than what you want. Don't push something if it doesn't happen initially. The stars will align if they're supposed to. There's also a third option, but it's connected to distance. So for some of you, because this is also a card of travel, there could be something that requires relocation, okay? Do yourself a favor, go there first, get a bird's eye view of what this would be like if you moved, and then you're gonna be able to feel better about that, generally speaking. The main thing here is patience. Patience will pay off. And making sure that you have enough resource-wise, because the only resource card, let's see, we don't have any pentacles, right? Yep, no pentacles. We have abundance, but it's kind of limited. It's a little wonky here. So don't limit yourself. Make sure that you're not taking something that's under what's necessary for you to feel like you've got what it takes, because these are cards of worth and strength and possibility. So we want to see that there in the bottom line. Okay, shifting the perspective to those that are already retired. Your journey's continuing here. The Judgment card is basically the phoenix rising from the ashes. So try something completely different, completely outside of your comfort zone. Travel definitely is coming through here. You also could be a really great leader or voice. And I talked about singing. Some of you may be deciding to do something literally involving like public speaking or singing or some sort of artistic expression. The singing metaphor could also be like an actor. I like this creative energy that's coming through. Try something new that sort of connects with the creative part of you. You know what? It's not an overly social month. It's kind of interesting. This isn't necessarily a time where you have to do a lot of traveling with family or a lot of group activities. It's a little bit more solo, at least initially. And I think that's okay. This is really about figuring out who you are and what you want to do, especially in this next and exciting chapter of your life. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. Such a valuable card here because it's trusting your instincts. High Priestess energy, loud and clear. Another angelic card, by the way. And it says, thank you, angels. Today I choose to trust my intuition and your guidance. And it's, again, very heart-centric. If it feels right, go for it. If it doesn't, address it. As simple as that. And for some of you, it is really yes or no. I mean, justice, even though we don't see it here, I mean, it's balanced, but justice is asked to look at those scales and make a choice. And I feel some of you might have to make a choice or ask that tough question this month. Let's break this down into 3 categories. We're going to start off for those of you that are currently in a relationship, then we'll move on to those single and those that aren't focusing on relationships at the moment. So if you're in a relationship, communication and integrity are coming through. 5 of Swords is pointing the finger and is argumentative, and it isn't listening. And a lot of times it's just trying to get a rise out of somebody. 7 of Swords, it doesn't have to always be intentional. It can sometimes just be overcommitting. So you may say, oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, but you know that you can't. So it's better to say, I can't promise, I'm really busy, I will try. What's the one thing that I can really do this week that will help the most? Have an honest conversation. So be honest with yourself, be honest with your partner, make sure that you don't overcommit. I think that's key. For many of you, it's just about saying thank you and I love you. This comes up a lot. I feel like I've been seeing this a lot this particular month, but the 2 of Swords is feeling like you're on the outside looking in. Okay, so if that's the case, speak up and say, I really need to know where we stand on this, or I appreciate it when you give me this kind of feedback or conversation, and this doesn't work for me. So setting sort of like expectations for conversations could be really key here. Don't force yourself. Don't force your partner to do something that you're not ready to do. Those are the main things. I think that the good news here is there could be unexpected good news. I said it could be a change for the better. This could be an unexpected announcement, a second chance at something, whether it's pregnancy or a job offer or a transfer or travel opportunity. or finally just kind of like overcoming some sort of challenge in your life. To me, it's reading very much as a celebration, or even maybe this is an invitation for some of you to do something as simple as making a date night. Whether or not you have kids or you're both just really busy, taking time and saying, just like when we first met, why don't we just do something fun? So you can do that sort of connection. And it could even just be, revisiting where you met or an old place that you always like to go. Do something that kind of rekindles that connection and that flame. Because we're not seeing, I would love to see the Two of Cups, the Lovers, or the Six of Cups, something that's that sort of spark igniting. And I think that would be really helpful. All right, moving on to those that are single but looking. If you're single and looking, I think that it's around the corner here. I think that the first thing that the universe really wants you to focus on is getting over disbelief, thinking to yourself, I can't do this, or I'm not worth it, or I'm not going to find someone. Like, let's get those thoughts out. They're not serving anyone or anything. Could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months, but the Two of Wands is really good at creating this. And we see, once you believe it, then you can see it. So believing is seeing. We see a strong fire sign with karmic connections coming through for you. Your patience is worthwhile. I think that you don't want to push the speed with which the relationship comes through. So everything in cosmic timing. This is a really good time for you, whether you have friends, family, plans or not, to do a little bit of traveling, to do some exploration. You might meet the person while you're out and about. Doesn't feel like it has to be something where you're fixated on trying to make the connection. This is a really good month to set something into fruition, set sail towards something. So whether it's like travel or just creating something new, that's going to help you. And you'll know when you see the person, like immediately. Your heart may skip a beat, or you just think, wow, we have a really kind of clear connection. If you feel it, great. If you don't force it. That's the main message here. And it does feel like it's 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 months. It's not a long wait here, but you have to have sort of like reciprocated passion there. For those that are happily single and maybe focusing on something else, it's a time for second chances. So this is a time to go after a dream that you thought before, had passed and sailed. That ship has not sailed. So really what I'm seeing for single and happy is putting all of your passion behind something, and it will go in the right direction. You do have a chance to emerge like the moth from the cocoon and really kind of just have some fun this month. I think I'm very happy for those of you that are single and happy, because this leadership and this sort of percussion energy here is showing that you're going to follow the beat of your heart, and that's going to lead you to new and exciting opportunities. Let's go ahead and see destiny here. We have earth and ground. This is hard sometimes for air signs, right? It's really asking you to take a deep breath and bring something to reality. So if your head is in the clouds and you're thinking, what about this and what about that? Or if you're putting too much energy into your emotions, this is saying do a grounding activity, something that makes you feel safe and stable. And you can hopefully start to get the energy of this. If it is the temperance angel, we have yet another angel here. Take a foot out of the water and just sit for a second and feel to yourself using the I am mantra. I am balanced. I am ready. And I am doing this. Really ground it in the mantra and the intention. And you can also say, I'm going to do this today. I am doing this today to make this happen tomorrow. I want you to be clear and realistic, obviously, but clear and very much positive with what you're trying to affirm. And you have a very, very good chance of breathing life into that. Let's delve into sun, rising, and moon sign messages now, and then we'll take a look at your bonus card after that. Bonus card for the new year. But first things first, sun, rising, and moon. Sun, rising, and moon. Okay, we're going to start off with sun sign messages. We have 5 of Pentacles, and it is reversed. This is a chance for you to focus on inner healing. Many times this comes from a wound from the past, but it can also be someone that said, you can't do it, you're not worth it, it won't happen. In this moment in time, you're turning the tables and saying, that was an old narrative, that was an old way of thinking of it. In fact, if we look at the traditional card, we can just see someone else was just incapable at that moment of being who you needed, when you needed it, but that's an indication more of what they need to work on rather than you, especially for those of you that might be nursing an injury from, an emotional injury from the past, deep past in childhood, etc. Sometimes adults just weren't ready, didn't have the tools necessary. In this period of time, because this card is reversed and because when we looked at your financial card, it was about balance, it is about focusing on balancing finances. So if there are any areas where you're investing but it's not returning energetically or literally on the balance sheet, it's time to focus on that and say, maybe it's time to try something new. When it comes to new contracts, or for those of you that are freelancing or do, service-oriented jobs, if someone's underpaying or underappreciating you, this is a time where you have to raise your hand and say, just like we've seen in grocery stores and restaurants and every industry, I have to raise my costs, or this is going to cost a little bit more, or I can do a little bit less, but I can't keep doing the same amount for that. So drive a hard bargain at a negotiation table, do your homework, bring actual facts and figures to the negotiation. I think you have a good chance of rectifying that as long as you speak from a place of logic and facts, as well as a little bit of emotion, saying, I've been here, I've helped you, this is important, this is what I need to succeed and sustain, okay? Let's move on from that to rising. So from sun to rising, we have the Eight of Swords. This Eight of Swords, though, is a little bit optimistic in the potential. Another angel, lots of angelic cards and energy coming through. We see the top of this birdcage lifting, and for many of you, this is about breaking down the tower. We saw this tower energy in the Catalyst. So you're going to see something in your life that just doesn't have sort of like the structure, the stability that you need, etc. And you're going to say enough is enough. Some of you may simply be opening your heart or mind to something new. These are the two blindfolded cards in tarot. And sometimes we don't want to see what's right in front of us. And the Eight of Swords is just inviting you to embrace the necessary, the obvious, and whatever it is that you need or want to be seen and supported. So it's a time to basically reach for more. So common theme with both sun and rising is to push through any areas of lack or anything that's been swept under the rug and to liberate yourself. This is the moth that needs to come out of the cocoon. It may be safe, but it's not sustaining, it's not substantial. Also, like I talked about with the Two of Swords, if there's something that is inconvenient but it's like right in front of you, better to deal with it now. So deal with things in real time. It'll save you time and energy down the line. For the moon sign, we have probably the most auspicious message of all of them. It's partnership that's incoming. The Four of Wands in the upright position, you can actually see the partners right there. But in the reverse, sometimes it's saying that the timelines haven't yet sort of connected. So there's someone that might be finishing up something that they need to deal with, vice versa. So really focus on holding space. And for those that are seeking love or friendship or business partnerships, the right connection will come through, but you don't want to force it. This is also an encouragement to do other types of networking. Put yourself out there. There could be an unexpected new friend or new love interest that's entering into your life, and that happens because you're changing things up. The tower can be very, very good, and for some of you, it's just about deciding to change the way you've approached sort of like your social networking and social spheres. Let's now do the bonus card for 2024. This is a special thing that I'm just doing with January readings. So basically, Libra, I want to see what the opportunity is for growth or development in the year ahead. Ace of Swords, I love this card, particularly because it has the skeleton key. So it was reversed, but let's look at it in the upright position. Typically, aces don't have a person on them. They're just like objects, right? Like a sword, a wand, a pentacle, or a cup. But in this one, we see a person coming through. We see the snail, which can represent things taking their time to get there. But at the end of all of this is something that was worth the wait. And again, this Ace of Swords is a skeleton key. Where did the lock exist that didn't have a key? Right here. So when it comes to abundance, it's a change. You're going to have more money and more opportunities next year, Libra, as soon as January. Are you ready? Are you in that energy of accepting and believing? This card is hoping that you are. Edit or revise anything that isn't up to your standards, and edit and revise your own thoughts and mantras so that they are more aligned with what I'm picking up on, which is abundance. Now you have a chance to ask one final question. Anything that I haven't answered, this is your chance to say, hey, universe, give me some clarity on that. it's a new dawn, a new day, a new beginning, folks. We have the Fool card in reverse. So you're possibly taking a different step, a different direction. Maybe the previous year felt very much like 2 steps forwards, 1 step back. You're still making progress. You may also need to go to the right or left of your current path a little bit. There's something unusual or unexpected about the next step. It's exactly what you need to be doing. Focus on possibilities. Release baggage. By the way, I can just show you the tin on this one, but the Fool always has just a very light load, that little knapsack behind him, right? So this Fool card is basically encouraging you to she doesn't even have anything, honestly. She's just carrying her thoughts and visions. So whenever this is upside down, it's like, let go of anything heavy, thought-wise, energy-wise, etc., because it doesn't serve you now. This is about forging a new path, okay? And whatever lurked beneath the surface here, fear or anxiety, it's in last year. There's too much to look forward to in 2024. That's everything for today. And what a beautiful reading today was. It really does focus and help you kind of connect with the possibilities, especially with the Three of Wands. And if I could leave you with one thing before we kind of wrap up here, it's that you're steering the ship, okay? If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe. It helps me, it helps others find the channel, so why not do it? Thank you so much. You can also follow me on social media. That way, when I post new videos or make any kind of announcements, you'll be one of the first to know. If you want to show love and support, you can do it right here on YouTube. There's a lot of benefits in becoming a member. There'll be more next year. So I even encourage that over Patreon. I think there's more perks there. So become a member if you can. You can also give back with a super sticker, super thanks, or anything of that nature there that you kind of see in the supers area. So thank you for that. A reminder, I do not give any private readings or use direct messages on social media. So if someone reaches out and offers you something or asks for money, ignore them, block them. Let me know about it too so I can report them. But otherwise, I just want to say thanks. If you ever need more information about me, you can go to my website. And that's everything for today. Remember, I drop new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, unless there's a change in my schedule or a holiday, and I usually will announce that a day or two before. Have a great New Year's, everybody. A great holiday season if you're watching this in advance of that. I wish you all the best in the days and weeks to come. And until I see you next time, take care.